Hi, it's Peg, and this video is the fast version of Art Joyous Sharing, which is our Thursday live show. Chelsea and I do a live show each Thursday, 10:30 Central Standard Time. And if you're interested in catching that show, look for Art Joyous Sharing on YouTube and also on Facebook. We have a Facebook group where you can join in the fun and show us what you're working on. But today's video is all about collage. And so I'm starting off with just a piece of chipboard that I have gessoed with black gesso. And I'm using a bunch of different papers, just things from my stash. Some scrapbook papers, some collage papers, some gel printed paper, whatever I have around. And I'm creating kind of a linear grid with those papers. You notice that I've taken a chalk pencil and gridded out the background so that I can, determine where I'm placing these things because I want it relatively straight on the page. You can use all kinds of different shapes. You can use circles, you can use squares, you can use rectangles, you can use triangles, stars, you name it. It's about gluing paper down, and that's what collage is. If you look up the definition for collage, it's a piece of art that's made by sticking various different materials, such as photographs, pieces of paper, or fabric onto a backing. So collage is recognized as an art, and it's all about gluing things together. Now, I've been doing collages ever since I was a kid. I always enjoyed working with glue and paper and gluing stuff down. So this is nothing new to me. Today I am doing more magazine collaging. Right now I'm just collaging the background. And this is just a technique that you can use for creating an interesting background. Mine has the blue-green combination with a little bit of the golden tones and purplish tones thrown in. And that's just because of the papers that I picked. I just took this piece of chipboard off the back of a collage pack of paper, and now I'm gluing all of those collage papers down to that piece of chipboard. And I'm using a brayer as I dry this just to make sure that things are sticking down to the page. I want to make sure that this is all sealed in really well. And some of those collage papers I'm having a little bit of difficulty with. So, it helps if you know what's going on with some of these papers. This happens to be some of those from Art by Marlene, and they're actually behaving more like a napkin than paper because they want to separate into layers. So it's good to know that if you're going to be working with that. Had I known that, I might have sealed it before I actually put it on to my art. But, I just went through my papers looking for things that I thought were going to coordinate for this background. And I think these do work very well with that. So I want to make sure that this is drying. And now it's an hour and a half show, and this stuff never really does get dry during the show, but you at least get the idea of how to create a project like this. So let's speed this up a little bit and get through this section. Um, yeah, I'm drawing lines. And let me tell you, in 16 times fast, it still seems like a long time. Imagine this in real time. But we are talking to the audience, we are talking to each other, we are talking about collage, and it's a lot of fun. So if you want to join us, please do. So I think I'm about done doing the outlining. Yay. And so the next thing I want to do is to grab some rub-ons. Now, because this still has way too much moisture in it, I'm going to experience some trouble with the rub-ons. And you'll see how I handle that in just a moment. Because what it wants to do is pull the paper up instead of sticking down. So, when that happens, you improvise. So I'm cutting out the rub-on, and I'm just going to leave the plastic piece there with it, glue it down, and then I'll put some matte medium over the top of the whole thing, and that'll just mute the shine from the plastic and still become an element of collage, because we can collage with everything, right? So it's still a flat surface. It's still something that I can stick down, and I like what it's doing for this. It's breaking up that line that's going across a little bit. So I will just continue and glue those pieces, and we'll move on from here. So I've been auditioning, things to go on the page. I'm looking at these collage elements. These are just kind of like paper doll punch outs. I don't know if you guys remember these things from when you were kids, but they can be punched out and put onto a page. Lots of different designs here from Art by Marlene, and I'm talking to the live audience, and they're asking me questions about this particular product, and the usual chit chat. So I'm looking at these designs, trying to figure out what I want to do, and none of these is really speaking to me. I'm looking at the stars and thinking, if I do the astronaut, I could use some stars. And I'm looking at the girls and I'm saying, well, I've got these flowers in here, I could use that. So I start by cutting out this face. I think it's a really cool image. I like this mask that she has over her face. And I'm thinking that's very striking. So I'm going to get my X-Acto and start cutting it out. Not really precise, just, getting the impression of this. And once I get it cut out and placed on the page, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the linear design that's in the background and that mask that has the lines going around and the lines of the necklace. And typically, repeating patterns are pretty good, but by the time you get this all together with what's on the page, it's way too much. So I'm just cutting it down, getting it sized to what I think is appropriate for the page. And then I grab my page and put it on there and look at the lines. Yeah, just way too much. Way too much for me. So I'm thinking, okay, the astronaut's going to be better. So here we go again. I'm going to cut this image out. And my X-Acto knife is not real sharp. I need a new blade in it. So it's taken me a little bit of time, but I'll get there eventually. And meanwhile, Shell is working away on her page. She's doing this really cool goat. So go over and watch her video too, because I think you'll enjoy it. I was talking to her after the show, and I said, "Oh, you did a Nubian," and she says, "Yeah, I don't know what it is." And I said, "Well, the Nubians are the goats that have the floppy ears, and the Alpine are the ones that have the ears that stand up and a little goatee and stuff." So we were talking goats. Okay, I like the astronaut on there a whole lot better. Just really working with the page a whole lot better. And that's the beauty. You can try things out. You don't have to glue anything down until you're ready to go. But I do work on both of these pages because it's an hour and a half show and things have to dry. I want to make sure that this is dry enough for me to do the finishing work, and it just wasn't going to be dry enough in that hour and a half. So I'm marking out where the astronaut is, and then I think, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and glue it down. So I get out a Yoo-Hoo glue stick. I'm looking at the back of the page and saying, that was kind of an interesting page too. You know, you have to make the choices, or at least make a copy of something if you want to copy it and put it on another page. But, you know, she had this jar of brushes and all kinds of things. And so I'm just putting the astronaut down thinking, yeah, I like that. And then I've got this stencil from Stencil Girl Products. It's a Nat Kahlberg. Kahlberg? I hope I'm not messing up her name. My brain is not engaging today. And I'm going to use some light gel paste to put that texture on the page. You know, it's not quite stars, but it's adding that textural element that I was looking for. And I wanted something to break up the background. And so best thing I could think of is a stencil, because, you know, I love my stencils. And while I'm doing that, I am cleaning the light gel paste off of my stencil because that will clog your stencils. But I'm creating another page with that light gel paste. So I'm going to set that aside to dry, come back to my image, and then I'm looking at it and I'm saying, yep, way too wet. I'm going to have to let that dry. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm looking at the girl's face on that background that I just created with the light gel. And I'm saying, okay, that works. So I'm grabbing a journal, and I'm going to start gluing that stuff down in my journal. That paste is going to act kind of as a resist as I do this page, and that's what I want. It's more texture for the background. So I'm grabbing a big Yoo-Hoo glue stick. This one has the blue coloration, and that's colored so that it's blue when you put it down, but as it dries, it turns clear, and it gives you an indication of where it is on the page, which is kind of nice that they have that option in the stick. So, you know, if you're shopping for Yoo-Hoo, just be aware that there are the two different things. So now I'm grabbing some of those things out of that punch-out book. You know, thinking, what am I going to use for this? I want to do kind of a headdress or hairpiece, something crownish up at the temple here. So I'm just punching out some of those pieces from that die cut book. I'm also going to get a few vellum stickers. They have glue on them already. I'm looking at this sticker. I put it down and the color is just off. It just isn't speaking to me. So, yeah, not going to happen. I've got some little felt flowers and I've got these butterflies. So, starting to pull some that have the right coloration on them for this page. And so I'm trying things out before I actually glue anything down. I want to make sure that it's going the way I want it to go. So I'm going to try to make this not too long for you. I keep speeding things up, trying to get through the process here. So you can see I'm auditioning the parts just to see, are they playing off of each other well enough? Is my page coming together with these pieces? Then I need to glue the pieces that go behind the head before I actually glue the head down. So going to start with those because it's a layering process. Start with those pieces first. And here you can see me pulling the backer off of that sticker. And now I can glue my magazine image in place. Still looking to see how that other one's coming along. If it's drying, it's still taking its time. And yes, as I said, I did not get through to finish that one. This part that you're watching towards the end here will be things that I recorded after the end of the show because, like I said, our show is an hour and a half. There's only so much that you can do in an hour and a half. So I think I worked about an additional hour after the show ended, adding color. I got out some magicals and put some color into the background and got my matte medium to seal everything down. I'm just getting a brayer and coating everything because, you know, magicals can move, the other stuff can move, and I want to come in and do some pen work over the top. I'm not going to spend all day on this. You know, that's 2.5 hours that I've put into this already today. So, you know, be prepared if you're going to be doing collage. It will take some time to accomplish something like this. You're watching it in a fast mode and it looks like it's really easy and you can put it all down in a hurry, but collage is something that takes time. The thing I like about it is you can get lost in the creativity of it. You know, when you're having those days where you just need to do something kind of mindless and take your mind off of other things, collage is a great stress reliever, a great thing to do to just, you know, go into your art room, cut out some images, glue some paper down, and create. So now I'm just doing some of the finishing touches. I'm grabbing permanent ink. This is archival ink. And I have a forget-me-not and watering can, I think. And just going around the edge of the page. I'm also adding some big brush marker to do a little bit of shadowing and highlighting. That's also in the blue and the gray. I'm getting some white gesso and watering it down and doing a little bit of splatter work. And gonna heat set that, trying to dry it off so that I can attach a phrase to the image. I like to have it say something. You know, she's just staring out right now, and I'd like to have it say something. So that's the fast version, and this is as far as I got today. I hope you enjoyed the process. I hope you will experiment with collage and show us what you are doing. So join us on Art Joy of Sharing. Thanks, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.